And some people say, oh, that's not good. It's kind of regular.
That French oak throws that curve in there. That boy,
That's
that
right.
ain't no good.
I mean, those people think that you just bring your bourbon over to my house and
that's
I'll
right.
drink
Just
it for you.
leave it over here with the Bourbon Road, and we'll make sure that we get on down to the next mile marker. Just
That's
saying.
right. The beautiful thing about bourbon is everybody has their own thing that they really enjoy and like. So whether it's Pappy, whether it's Four Roses, Makers, Jim Beam, whatever it may be, we all have something that we really enjoy.
Right.
And so what the mainstream may say, if you enjoy to drink it, drink it, share it, tell people that you like it, and keep going.
Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Randy. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
We would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of the Bourbon Road. Find out more about their fine rustic furniture at logheadshomecenter.com. Randy, I really like recording third pour episodes. I think we got to do more of them.
Oh, yeah, they're fun.
They are.
They kind of go more where they want to. It's like a meandering river. It kind of just flows wherever it can go.
Yeah, it seems like the last two have been kind of, like the competition based, kind of blind tasting. Well, the first one was with the guys from the YouTube, and then we did this one last night with a couple of friends that we hang out with on a regular basis here.
Mike and Brian. Awesome guys.
And so this one was bring your bottle under $20.
Bring your bottle under $20. Bring it in a brown paper bag. So we really were brown bagging it.
Right. So we didn't go through the whole trouble of trying to, do all these pours in secret and everything. We just brought it in brown paper bag, just like a hobo.
Well, we did have a little sophistication, Jim, in that we did not say, hey, take a swig, pass it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had 4 bottles, and I don't mind telling the folks what was brought before the episode. I don't think that's going to ruin anything.
It doesn't affect the score.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the score or anything. We didn't know what they were, but why shouldn't the listeners know?
Oh, yeah.
So we had, we won't say who brought what, but we had Fighting Cock.
Yeah, we sure had a good time with that name.
Yeah. And somebody surprised us with Old Overholt rye.
And I'd never had it. And so, yeah, you'll have to listen to see what happened with that. Whew.
And JTS Brown, Bottled and Bond.
JTS Brown, Bottled and Bond.
That's a bargain bottle right there. That's a cheap one.
And I had never had that before.
Yeah. And, okay, there was a ringer, Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, but let's be fair, it was purchased for $11 at the time.
Right.
So it met all the qualifications. So we had those 4 bourbons, and they all went head to head, and we all sort of drank them blind and scored them, and then revealed them one at a time as we go through. So you don't have to wait till the end of the show. You just have to wait till the end of one bourbon to know what it was.
So we had 4 sets.
Yeah.
If we were musicians, you could say we had 4 sets that we did.
And it was a lot of fun. So we, just a group of guys hanging out and had a good time. And I think in all it's about an hour long. And
perfect for riding that mower.
A lot of fun having Brian and Mike on though. Those guys are a blast. A lot of fun. And a little nervous for their first time on air, I think.
But you know how it is. The second half always goes well.
Yeah, it does. So. Yeah, 3rd, 4th bourbons. We were really rocking and rolling, weren't we?
I hear you.
All right. Well, I think we got to get to it.
All right. Sounds good, Jim. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Shannon.
Randy Minnick.
And we're here again, the Bourbon Road, ready to record another podcast. But we've got something different today, Randy. What do we got?
Oh, well, you've arranged this, Jim. So why don't you tell us? I think this is what we call a third pour.
That's right. Another third pour episode. This is our second third pour episode we've done. And we've got some friends with us today. So we've got...
well, introduce your friends there, Jim.
Well, why don't we let them introduce themselves?
There you go. Sounds good.
I'm Mike. Just met old Jim here at a bar down in Shelbyville, Kentucky, and we started talking about bourbon, and off we went.
So would you call yourself a bourbon fan, a bourbon outsider, a bourbon insider? How would you categorize yourself?
I'm just a bourbon drinker. I think just enjoy it and enjoy life, and you meet new friends talking about it. And I'm not a Kentucky boy. I'm from Texas, but I sure love this good brown water you guys have here.
Yeah. And how long have you been drinking bourbon?
I'd say in high school I drank bourbon a little bit, Jim Beam here or there. You could sneak some. But about I'd say 12 years now. My wife bought me a nice bottle for an anniversary gift one day, and off I went. And then here we moved to Kentucky, and I started buying a bottle here, buy a bottle there, and sharing it with my friends. And I don't think any friend's gonna push away a nice bottle of bourbon.
That's right. You kind of got the bug now, right?
I do. I caught it hard.
And I'm Brian. I've known Jim for 10 years.
Probably 10 years, yeah.
About 10 years or so. Been chasing bourbon, drinking it 20 years. Just like to share it, drink it, pour it, trade it.
So you've been actually doing this bourbon hunting game for quite a while.
Yeah, a little bit too long.
Yeah. You've taken a break recently, right? Now you're kind of getting back into it a little bit.
Absolutely. Taking a break, just getting back into trying to just trade bottles.
Yeah.
Find good people that I care about. And if I have something they want, just see what we can do.
Well, by the time you get to the end of the bottle, y'all may care about each other anyway, whether you did or not.
That's right.
Yeah, we were over at his house last night. He's christened a new bar. So got a new bourbon bar in his basement.
Yeah. So we poured some fun stuff and poured some pretty terrible things and had a good time with it.
All right. Well, guys, welcome to the show. Nice to have you.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to have sort of a blind. I'll explain this for the listeners. We're going to have kind of a blind pour. And what we've done is we've each bought a bottle under $20. So we've gone to the store and we've each bought a bottle under $20. No rules other than that. It just needs to be bourbon, right? And
right.
And so what we've done, we've got our bags in paper bag. We've got our bottles in paper bags, just like a hobo. And we're each going to pour, and then we'll talk about the bourbon, what we think about it, tasting. Now, the only person in the group is going to know what we're drinking will be the guy that poured it from his paper bag hidden bottle.
Yeah, we all look like a bunch of bums with our little brown bag bottle.
But anyway, so we'll talk about the bourbon a little bit. We'll kind of score it. I think the best way for us to score this is we'll give up to 5 points for the nose, for the smell. We'll give 5 points for the taste, and then we'll give 5 points for the finish. So let me just say this. If it's a 1, if it scores a 1, it means it's absolute swill. Don't want to drink it. If it's a 5, it's the best darn bourbon you ever tasted in life. So 3 is about a good average bourbon. So somewhere, use your best judgment.
None of y'all are going to get a 5. I'm still on the quest for the perfect bourbon.
So we'll go through these one at a time. And then, before we reveal each one, and we'll reveal them after we drink each one, we'll try to guess at it. We'll take a few guesses, see if we can try and figure out what it is. And just have fun.
I got a feeling Jim's going to win this one.
No, why do you say that?
We're looking at your collection over there in the corner. That's how we know.
Blind is a great equalizer. You guys know that.
Yep, it is. It is.
All right. Well, let's get started. What do you say, guys? Now, this is a bourbon that Mike brought, and you don't tell us anything about it, but it's already in our glass, and let's take a nose on it and taste. And cheers, guys. It's a little alcohol-y, but not too bad. It's been in the glass for a couple of minutes here, so
It's had that room to walk.
Yeah.
Well, mine's more like antifreeze. It seems to be running. I'm just joking.
It's got a sweet nose.
It does.
It does.
If I was to just judge on the nose, I'd go, hey, this is going to be
vanilla,
drinkable stuff.
Vanilla there.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of vanilla. It's got a little bit of youth to it.
Yes, you can tell that.
Yeah. But I'm not getting a lot of oak on it. A little bit of fruit.
But then your general caramels and vanillas are there.
All right. What do we say, guys? Take a sip. That's a sweet bourbon. It's kind of the color on it's like a little bit darker than a golden amber.
Kind of finishes with that peppery taste, a little bit of like white pepper maybe.
But I was expecting a little more bitter than I got, actually. You can tell there's youth, but I was,
Not too bad.
but no.
It finishes sweet. There's not any dryness to that finish at all.
And it rounds the corner quick.
I'm not getting so much of the fruit on the palate, but it is a little bit. It does bring out the floral of it. But man, it really enhances the nose once you get a sip of it.
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody had enough time with the bourbon? All right, we're going to finish with you, Mike, since you did the pour. We don't want to hear your ideas on it until last. So let's start with Brian. Brian, you've got 5 points to give to the 3 different areas. What do you think about the nose on it?
I think I'm going to go probably. Let's go with the 2 on the nose.
Okay, you guys can use decimal places like fractions if you want, like
Let's
2.5 or.
Let's go 2.5.
Now, I just want to remind all 3 of you, I'm quite larger than all 3 of you, so easy on my bourbon now.
I was sitting there thinking that, Mike. I was going, he might beat our if we don't score him like he thinks it needs to be scored. I'm closest to the stairs and I can run fast.
That's all right.
Let's go 2.5.
Oh, you influenced it.
Well, I didn't know we could do the decimal point. So
yeah, 2.5. Okay, fair enough. And the taste?
I'm going to go with 2 on the taste.
2 on the taste. So you like the nose a little bit better than the taste.
I like the nose better than the taste. A little bit.
And the finish.
Let me try one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm very curious to hear what Jim has to say about this.
Well, he'll tell you exactly what he thinks. That's for sure.
Oh, I will.
I think I'll go with the 2.
A 2
on the finish.
A 2. Okay, so Brian, you've got a 2, and a 2.5 for 6.5 points. All right, for me, the nose, it's a little hot, but it's very sweet. I'll probably give this a 2.5 on the nose. I'd kind of echo Brian there a little bit. The taste, there's not much on the front end. Most of the sweetness comes on the middle of the tongue and the finish. But the finish doesn't last very long. So I'm kind of talking about taste and finish at the same time. I would probably give this a 2 on taste and probably maybe a 2.5 on finish. And that gives me 7.
A 7. Okay.
7 out of 15. So it's a 50 percentile.
Gotcha. Well, the nose for me was better than I expected. Okay. And I don't know if it's because it's the first one we're and I'm haven't had any in 2 or 3 days or whatever, so I have to get acclimated. But because it surprised me so much, I'm going to give it about a 2.85. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Because it surprised me.
He's going to make me do math.
Exactly. The taste, though, disappointed me after the nose. So I probably would do, like a 2.25.
You like that peppery finish?
The finish to me was a lot better. Yeah.
You said 2.25 on the taste?
Yeah. I'm going to do decimals because we're going to be splitting hairs pretty soon. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just going to work that way. The finish to me was probably a 2.5. It was after that nose, I was expecting something a little bit, but that it did have that good peppery on the finich of that. So,
well, I'm not going to do the math on that till later because you got a 0.85 in there for me. So.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Not a problem.
Well, you can put it over here and I'll figure it out for you later.
There you go. All right, Mike, what do you think? This is your bourbon, my friend.
I would say it was about a 2.5 on the nose. Has a nice, it smells like almost if my wife was making zucchini bread in the house. That's kind of the smell I get from it. Kind of gives me that happy feeling. Probably a 2 on the palate. And then I don't like peppery bourbon. That's just not me. That's not my thing. Probably like Randy a little bit. So I'd give it a 2 on the finish too.
Okay,
it's
2.
Just not. That's not my thing. I was trying to come here and win Jim over on my bourbon.
No, now this isn't something that you've had before. So
I hadn't had it. I actually talked to the owner of the shop where I got it at. I did my research on it, and I thought it can compete very well.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be a good bourbon. It is a young bourbon, so.
All right. Well, let's talk about this bourbon a little bit. I've got a couple questions for you, and we can all ask you questions.
All right.
So obviously it's less than $20 because that was a rule.
$19.95, and the shop I went to, he's a little higher than some. If I would have brought it at Kroger or one of the big package stores, I probably would have been looking at about $17.99.
Okay. All right. Anybody with any questions?
What was the proof on this?
103.
103. Yeah.
103 proof. I'm trying to think now. What's 103 proof?
Sometimes you just got to enjoy the ride, look out the window, Jim. You don't have to sit there and try to figure out how fast you're going,
big distiller, small distiller.
Probably one of the largest distillers out there that come out this to compete.
Yes. What about age?
So when this first came out, it was a 6-year. And the distiller, for whatever reason, they took that 6-year off there. And so everything that's in the bottle is 4 years or older.
All right. Big reveal, buddy. I don't have a guess for it.
So this is Heaven Hill's Fighting Cock.
Oh, this is Fighting Cock.
Made to compete with Jim's Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah, I know Jason on the Mash and Drum just did a head-to-head with this against Old Granddad 114. And it actually fared pretty well.
Really?
Against Old Granddad. Yeah. And Old Granddad's a higher proof, too. So
yeah.
All the reviews on it were great. It's still a $20 bourbon all day long, but it was made to compete against Wild Turkey, and I think it does all right. I could drink this.
Yeah. So all the scores kind of averaged, between the 6 and 7.5 range. So that's kind of an average bourbon. Our top score is 15, so we're right in the middle there somewhere. So this is a good average bourbon, I think. I don't think it excelled in anything, but hey, I was glad to try it.
Quite surprising for the bottle doesn't, to me, looks like it's almost like a wine bottle or something. And they got a funny logo on there, and
it's got kind of a clear plastic label on it, doesn't it?
It does. It not what you think on a bourbon shelf, but it does stick out. It definitely sticks out there. It's got that big Fighting Cock on it. So
yeah. All right. So now that we finished scoring Mike's, we're going to move on to Brian's, and Brian has poured his, and we're ready to start on it. Don't tell us anything.
That's a generous pour.
It is a generous pour. This one actually looks about the same color as what we just drank, I think. I think we're going to find that today, probably.
Might be a little lighter.
Yeah, maybe just a hair. Maybe just a hair. All right. Cheers, guys. All right. This one doesn't have much of a nose at all.
Interesting.
What little bit I am getting is kind of a little fruity corn, but it's very light nose on it. Not getting a lot of alcohol. Randy, what do you think?
The legs look good on this one. She's got good legs. I haven't got that far yet. Not as much alcohol for sure. If you know, when I open my mouth, I'm starting to get the.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a kind of a musty nose on it. Just a little bit. It's kind of like a warehouse must.
Maybe he cheated. You never know.
You never know.
He brought brought a ringer, huh?
So maybe he thought you said 120.
Yeah, hey, this was $20 in 1974. That's the problem.
That's right. Nobody's tasted it yet.
So is that cheating if it was $20 in 1974?
I don't know. That's when he bought it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was below $20, right? At the time.
I'm ready to taste it, though. Another spicy, peppery kind of bourbon there. But I'm getting a little bit of raisin plum on it, though.
Little fruit on that back end there.
Yep. This is sweet, but it's not as sweet as that Fighting Cock.
Finish kind of just disappears, doesn't it, a little bit?
Yeah, but this has got a little bit better viscosity to it. It's kind of it's sticking to my sides of my mouth.
A little oilier.
A little oilier.
Yeah.
I definitely get that plum taste out of this right here.
Man, this kind of reminds me a little bit of a Barton product. Yeah, I mean, I can see from the paper bag and shrouded bottle that it doesn't have the right shape. So, plus, I think they're too expensive. Actually, I kind of like this one. You're right, Randy. Not a big, huge finish on it.
It's not. It's almost like it went straight from the front of your mouth to the back end and just disappeared. You know, I agree. I was like, where did my round the corner come from? Where is it?
Not much nose. Not a finish.
Now, had you tried this one before?
I've never had it.
Oh, okay.
Just went in. I was like, you know what? This is going to be fun. Let's try something a little different.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. There's a lot of bottom shelf heroes. You just don't know about them.
That's right. And soon you won't be able to get them.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead and Brian, we won't start with you. So in this case, I guess I'll begin. For me, the nose on it was almost not present. It was kind of very light. The little bit of nose I did get, it was okay. I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything that drew me to take the first drink. You don't want that nose to sort of draw you into that first drink, right? That first sip. So I'm going to give it probably a 2. Now the taste for me, a little bit better than the nose, but not by much. I think what little finish it had was probably the best part of it for me. So I'm going to go with 2 on the taste. I'm going to do 2.5 on the finish.
Okay.
So I'm at a 6.5.
I hear you. And mine's going to be pretty similar. Probably about a 2 on the nose. Like you said, what I did smell on there was actually, I was going, okay, this may be pretty solid. Nothing to get excited about,
right.
But the taste, man, I'm just going to have to, I don't want to give anybody less than a 2, especially if it's drinkable. So I'm going to have to go with about a 2 on the taste. It just didn't round the corner for me, Bri. Sorry about that, buddy. And then like the finish just was gone. I'd just do a 2 on the finish and be done with it.
So we have to be kind of fair to these bottom shelf bourbons. We know they're going to be younger bourbons. So the finish tips to develop more in bourbons that have a little more age on them.
Right.
Maybe not so much in a 4-year or so bourbon, but they start to really develop at 6 years and higher.
Right.
So you gave it a 6 overall. All right, Mike, what do you got?
I'd say a 2 on the nose. I'm along the same line as you guys. It just wasn't there. Same thing on the taste. I think it's at that 2. It's not surprising or nothing. It's not going to overwhelm you. And the same thing on the finish. That back end is just, it's not there. It's quick.
Yeah.
So it kind of like drops off the cliff.
Yep.
It does. Yeah.
Nothing against Brian.
No worries. No worries.
It's still a very drinkable bourbon.
All right, Brian, what do you got? Your bourbon.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a little more tough on this one.
Okay.
4.
That's right. Let's go 5s across the board.
Well, let's remember what a 1 is now. 1
That's
is
right.
absolute
Now,
swill.
if this is Pappy's, we're all in trouble.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, with the nose, I mean, there's not anything really there. So it's kind of hard to give it a 1 just because it's not existent, but probably 1.5.
Okay. 1.5 on the nose.
And then
that's really low,
It's tough on himself.
I'm telling you.
The taste, I'm going to be generous. I'll go with the 2.
Okay.
And the finish, man, it's tough. Might follow Randy here, go like a 1.85.
Okay, we'll do the math on that later.
That's right.
All right, guys. All right, so we have got our scores in, but let's go ahead and ask him some questions. Major distiller, yes or no?
To be determined. I have not researched the bottle that much.
Okay, so is this one of the big 3 or 4 well-known manufacturers?
Honestly, I have no idea. We're going to have to look at the bottle in a minute.
Okay, so it's one of those.
It's one of those.
All right.
Yes.
You got a proof for us?
100.
100. Uh-oh.
I wouldn't have guessed that at all. I would have thought in the 90 somewhere.
Yeah. 83,
Oh, yeah.
86, like the old Forester kind
And,
of thing.
honestly, I did no research. I went in, I was like, what's under 20?
Grab and go.
Started looking around. I was like, hey, I haven't seen that really too much. So
Do you have an age on it?
it's going to be 4+.
I don't know, Randy. What do you think?
They don't pay me enough to think.
Is it bottled in bond?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh.
Shabam.
Old granddad.
No, sir. You want to take a peek?
Yeah, let's reveal it. What are we drinking here?
Got to take the paper bag off because I have no idea. I'm kidding.
Old Overholt.
I have never had this.
I almost got that right there, but it is harder to find than you think it is.
Yeah, the funny thing is I did not guess it as a rye. I knew it was spicy, but I didn't guess it as a rye.
It was not as spicy as I expected.
Now, see, I'm kind of a fan of Old Overholt, and here I am tasting it blind and scoring it kind of low. So, hey, what about blinds, guys? I mean, this really tells the true story, doesn't it?
That's right.
Old Overholt's an old brand, been around a lot of years. Wow, Brian, good job. I love the twist. This is great.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we've finished up that one, we're going to move into the next pour. It's Randy's. But before we do, I want to know what you guys been drinking on. What's in your bar lately? Mike, what have you been drinking on?
I love that Wilderness Trail. Their sweet mash, that stuff is great. And I really love how that distillery treats veterans down there. To me, that means everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes their bourbon taste better, but to me, it seems it does. But I actually, me and my wife went down to Lux Row the other day.
Yeah.
And Rebel Yell 10-year.
Oh.
To me, that might be some of the best bourbon on earth right there. I love it. And the way they cater to veterans down there, free tour, free tastings, active duty military, retired military, they don't care. They're gonna treat you right there. And to me, that means a lot. We should be paying back to our veterans and giving as much as we can to those guys for what they did. And, just like you, Jim and Brian, thank you guys for your service.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank all you guys for your service.
Yeah.
Brian, what have you been drinking on?
Well, you saw the bar last night.
I did see the bar.
I playing around with a little bit of everything. The limestone, gave that a shot.
Oh, did you? Did you open that? Was that the rye you opened up?
Opened up the rye and then the wheat. So gave both of those a shot. Broke in the Four Roses.
The small batch select?
The small batch select.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
One of my faves.
So played around with some of those. It was kind of a long night last night.
Yeah. Well, Melanie and I had to check out early. Sorry about that. But we had family coming in. But quite a shindig, and definitely appreciate being invited over. We had a good time.
Yeah.
We really did. And he's got a heck of a bar, guys. We're going to have to gather around the bar someday.
Absolutely.
Randy, what have you been drinking lately?
Actually, the last I took was a trip down memory lane and had some Blantons, believe it or not.
There you go.
Good one.
We've got the nonprofit that I'm the director of. We've got a fundraiser coming up this next weekend. And so one of the items up for auction is the old the stave from Buffalo Trace that has all the Blanton's tops in them. Okay, you can't get them anymore because they're doing them round now, and people make their own. But this was one of the original that has the Buffalo Trace on it, and I was like, let me go take me a little trip down memory lane and do a little blend.
You could probably hook him up, couldn't you?
I think I can take care of you.
Okay.
What about a straight from the barrel?
Hey, let's do it.
Would that be good?
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, man, that's some good stuff, isn't it?
Okay, we can do it.
For me, Mike picked me up a bottle of Old Ezra 7, and I put it to rest the other night. It's gone.
That poor thing.
That poor thing.
I forgot to actually text you.
I buried it in the backyard.
Case of that. So
Old Ezra. I don't know that I've ever had any Old Ezra.
Yeah, they got a 7-year-old, and it's pretty darn tasty. It's not in my particular profile, but it's a good bourbon. I mean, it's a good bourbon. I think, it's one that I would probably recommend. And the reason I would recommend it is because I think it would be a big fan for a lot of people. It just for me, everybody's got their own taste buds and what they like and what they lean towards. That's not one of mine, but I didn't let a drop of it go to waste, Mike, and I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
All right, Randy, we're ready.
All right, do it.
What did you bring? No,
I
don't
know.
tell
Why
us.
don't you tell me?
All right. Well, I am looking at probably the darkest of the three so far, maybe, but not by much.
I would say a little bit.
I agree.
I'm looking at Mike's glass. His is darker than mine. And why is that?
I think it's just the lighting in here.
It's just the lighting.
It is a nice dark bourbon.
Yeah, but it's marginal. It's a very small amount of difference.
I think it's definitely closer to the first. Second was lighter.
Oh, now that's got a little bit. I like that nose.
I was thinking graham crackers.
Yeah.
Well, now I could get graham crackers. I was thinking brown sugar. You know what I'm saying? Molasses kind of
brown
thing.
sugar.
I'm thinking. I'm like
sugar.
Oh,
like,
there you go.
Like
honey.
nutmeg and allspice and everything nice. Nutmeg, allspice, everything nice. Kind of baking kind of spices.
Oh yeah,
Sorghum.
sorghum. Hey,
Sorghum.
There
I
you
can
go. A
see
little bit
sorghum
of
in
deep
there.
south there for
Hey,
you, Randy.
there you
I'm
go.
not getting the sweetness of it, but I am getting the spice of it.
Well, the sweetness is there for me, but
And you know what? There's a little bit of alcohol there, but it's not too much. It's not off-putting, I think.
Definitely a lot more nose
Yeah.
than the last one. A whole lot more.
And the legs do form, and they're a little thin, but not too bad. Let's taste it, guys.
a little thin. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's tasty.
I think, Randy, did you cheat a little bit here?
I may have.
Oh, man.
I may have. You got to do what you got to do.
Now, you might be able to fool us with who made it and what the proof is and all that, but you can't fool us good or bad bourbon. That's good bourbon.
Can you trust these Georgia boys?
No.
Huh?
I've been living in Kentucky too long. Of course you can't.
Of course you. Come on, guys. You know Jimmy Carter. Can you trust these Georgia boys? Yeah, you can trust Jimmy Carter. Regardless of what you think about his politics, he was an honorable man.
I'll tell you what, I know the man personally. I've had conversations with him, him and Miss Rosalind. And, although him and I may not agree always, I'm telling you, you won't find a better humanitarian out there.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
When talking to them up at the Carter Center, they're planning on, the Carter Center is planning on putting an end to what they call river blindness in Africa in the next 10 years. So you got to give him thumbs up and kudos for that. They're really trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah,
I think old Jimmy Carter, he's built a lot of houses for a lot of people.
He sure has.
Habitat for
He's
Humanity.
driven some nails, hasn't
He sure has. And, I've been out there and seen what he's done before, and he'll get right on site and build a house just with everybody else.
Brian, what do you think about that one?
That's pretty tasty.
Yeah, it is.
I'm enjoying that.
Randy come to win.
I did not know it was a competition
No,
like
Randy
this.
just came to not lose. That's what Randy did.
Oh,
Jim was talking
man.
about making me eat some and drink some
Some
bad,
crow.
some
Some
bad
crow.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
some
is,
bad
that is a
stuff.
bulldog.
Well,
that is a bulldog football player.
Yeah.
To heart right there.
Here's
We're going in for the
deal,
kill.
guys. Here's the deal. Now, we're not going to do first, second, third, fourth place, all that kind of stuff. But we are going to say that whoever gets the highest number of points here can go pick anything off the bar over there.
for the other three to drink.
No, to drink themselves. I mean,
Oh,
there's some
okay.
B-Tax over there. There's some good stuff.
Now, I was over here the other night, and this is what Jim said, right? Jim said, anything over on that shelf, the loser's got to drink. Now, and Mel, his wife, was like, hey, you going to clear that off and put some other? He didn't clear it off. So I see what's over there to drink, and I'm fine with losing tonight.
I was going to say, put me on a desert island with any of that over there.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Jim made mistakes.
I have made
I'm even
mistakes.
okay with that plantation. I have
Let's-
no problem with
let's
that.
do it.
Yeah, well, the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof and the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, I think, don't get to be in the loser's pile.
See, now he's changing the rules on his other guys.
Jim started to get nervous when I started telling him that story.
I know. I was so busy trying to get ready for all this. I was like, oh man, I forgot to do that. Of course, there's an infinity bottle over there too that you can pick from, which is basically where I pour all the dregs from all my bottles into. So anyway, all right, fellas.
I don't know that I've ever had any bad infinity.
No.
I don't know that I ever have.
Yeah.
It's like the good stuff in there just raises what's at the bottom up, and it's always good stuff.
Well, when you have like a really rough bourbon that's not your favorite, one that you kind of use for mixers and so forth, when it gets kind of low, you don't put it in your infinity bottle. So it's usually just the good stuff that makes it in there, right?
Well, depends on who you ask.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, I'm ready to hear some votes. What do you think, guys?
Mike, we're going to start with you, man.
All right. I'd say on the nose, I'd give it a 2.5 for me. It's there, but it's just not
Overpowering
overpowering or anything.
I get that.
I'd say on the taste, I'd give it a 2.75.
Uh-oh, we got
the decimals happening.
We're going
I told you we were
deep.
splitting
Going deep.
hairs.
And I'd say maybe a 3 on the finish. All right, is that our first 3 right there?
That's our first 3.
First 3.
Now remember, on a scale of 1 to 5, 2.5 is middle of the road.
Right.
So 3 is above average.
So it's a C plus or B minus.
Yeah, however you
All
want to
right.
look at it.
There you go.
I guess
If you want to look at
you'd
it
have
that
to
way.
say on Randy's, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Is that what Georgia says?
See, why
That's kind of more of
like
a,
that,
that's
Mike?
more of an Alabama saying.
Alabama
but,
saying.
you know,
I mean, I think we could all say, hey, Roll Tide could roll somewhere else. Hey,
man. Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah.
you know, we're in Kentucky. I am Georgia. The wife is Florida. You know, it's okay. Let's see if we can get Clemson and Alabama out of there this year, maybe.
that's right. Who do you root for, Georgia or Alabama?
You know, what really? Yeah.
Brian, where are you at?
I think we're taking just a step above. So I'm going to go 2.5 on the nose. We're going to go 2.5 on the taste.
Randy says, take your time.
Yeah. Just keep Georgia out of your mouth and out of your mind, and just go ahead and do it on taste. No biased opinions here, okay, Brian?
I mean, I am kind of a
I
big
know.
BBN
I
fan,
know.
so
What can you say?
be nice if we could beat you one time.
Uh,
I'm going to go 2.75 on the finish.
All right. We're definitely on the upward swing here, guys.
I think that's because the scores are going up as
Well,
we go.
I mean,
You know,
it's definitely better.
Well,
I mean,
it's never good to be first because there is an acclimation period.
no, I'm serious.
That's right.
That's
So, Mike, sorry that you're fighting cockhead to go first tonight, but
Georgia will take those field goals any day.
you're not in last place. You went first, but you're not in last place. Yeah. All right. For me, the nose on this, I like it. I really do. I'm at a 3. The palate, I like it. I think I'll stick with a 3 on that too. We're at 3s here. The finish for me is the hero on this bourbon. I think it's got an excellent finish. And I think if I look at the numbers here, everybody kind of agrees with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 3.25 on the finish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm up to 9.25 overall.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I might be scoring it a little high, but I think it's a darn good bourbon, Randy.
Well, it's been nice knowing y'all.
I don't think anybody's losing here.
No.
We're not. And this is one that I personally would give 3s all the way across the board. It's just solid.
So
Like that.
is that what your score is?
Yeah.
You're 3 all the way
I would
across.
probably do 3 across the board on this one here.
Okay.
If I got stuck somewhere and this is all I had to drink, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'd
You
be
guys
fine.
asking him any questions?
What's the proof on it?
100.
Uh-oh.
age.
6 years.
I'm guessing it's a bottled and bond.
Yep. And I didn't buy it. It was gifted to me.
Okay.
I just didn't have a chance to go by and get anything. You all don't understand what I had to go through this last weekend. And so, anyway,
I'm thinking the Heaven and Hill bottled and bond.
that's
what I'm
exactly what it
thinking.
is.
Wow, good job, Mike.
But it was less than $20 back in the day when you could get it. Let's
That's
just put
right.
it that
Great
way.
bourbon.
Yeah.
I've only got like a half a bottle at my house, and then we keep it inside the cabinet, kind
Yeah,
of hidden
Because you
away.
don't want
and
anybody going in there messing with
nobody
that.
needs that because I got a couple buddies that Jim's seen. They don't care what kind of bourbon it is. If you
They
put it
go,
out
"Gun,
for
gun,
those
gun."
guys, they will drink that
Now,
bottle.
you want to share your bourbon with your friends,
Oh,
but
I
you
love
want to share it with people who could appreciate what
Yeah,
you're pouring
and
too.
enjoy it. Yeah.
That's
those
great.
guys do, and that's why we put it out. And,
Yeah.
that bottle's kind of hidden away from
No,
everybody else.
and what's interesting is when we were interviewing Brian Hara,
Yeah.
Bourbon
Hara.
Hara, excuse me. Brian Hara, Bourbon Justice, he uses the 6-year Heaven and Hill as his measure for all bourbons.
Yeah, and he's saying, if I can buy this and it used to be $11, then it moved up to 13, and then it went up a little bit higher right before it disappeared off the ship.
$17.90 when
Right.
I got this. It was about
And now it's on
17.
secondary for $50 a bottle.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
can't get it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with saying no.
That's right.
When somebody wants to taste something, say, well, that's kind of special.
Yeah.
We're going to hold off on that. Maybe a special
my
night.
excuse
we'll
is,
dip
Brian,
into it.
that's one of my wife's favorites. Thank you. Excuse me.
That's right. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Later I hear about it. Why are you trying to get me in trouble? But,
All right. Well, that was great. We would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of The Bourbon Road. Logheads Home Center, nestled in the hills of Kentucky, is an industry leader in building handcrafted rustic furniture. Family owned and operated, they take pride in offering only the very best for their customers. The Logheads, and that's what they like to call themselves, are skilled woodcrafters who are passionate about creating rustic furniture for people who appreciate the beauty of natural wood. Owners Tommy and Gwen don't just sell the rustic lifestyle, they live it. And you can be sure that Logheads furniture will always be handcrafted in Kentucky by artisans who embrace the simple way of life. Logheads rustic furniture is made from northern white cedar, a sustainable wood that's naturally rot and termite resistant. Its beauty and quality will add warmth to your earthy lifestyle for generations to come. Be sure to check out everything they have to offer at logheadshomecenter.com. And while you're at it, give Tommy and Gwen a shout on Facebook or Instagram at Logheads Home Center. Okay, so we are now on our fourth pour of the night. This is my bottle, and but before we do, I want to ask you guys a few questions.
Okay,
Well,
go
just
ahead,
one-
Go ahead. This is a 4-4.
Where have you been in Louisville and surrounding areas is kind of interesting to you. Restaurants, bars, what have you seen lately? Tours, distillery tours that you might want to shout out as a recommendation to people if they're coming to town.
I don't get out much.
Go
Go ahead.
I'd say not in Louisville, but over in Frankfurt, the Stave.
Yeah.
We checked that place out, and
The Stave. What is it? What is the Stave?
a small little restaurant right between Woodford Reserve and Castle and Key.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And if you haven't been in there and eaten, it's got that southern charm, southern flair. It's right on the creek right there. The food is just excellent.
Now we stopped in there, Randy, but I don't think we ate any food, did we?
No, we just had bourbon that day, actually.
Great bourbon selection.
Yeah, they have
And my wife had never been to Castle and Key, and I said, you got to at least see the grounds. So we were on our way back from doing something in Lexington, and we went back, and I said, look, it's not that far out of the way. So we went to Castle and Key, and that's that whole Glens Creek area. If you go Castle and Key and Woodford, and we got to get to Glens Creek.
Yeah, we do.
To the distillery there at some point and go see old Crow there. And it's beautiful. You're talking about a beautiful drive. That's picturesque Kentucky down there.
Yeah, there you go. So we got a couple of good recommendations. Brian, you got one for us?
I do.
Yeah.
So the Village Anchor,
Yeah.
probably my favorite place to go to by far. Eric, phenomenal bartender. Grant, GM, guys are awesome. They have a excellent bourbon selection. Guys will take care of you. They can lead you through it all. Not sure what you want, but I mean they have everything.
Now that's in the east end of Louisville, in a little town called Anchorage.
That's correct.
So-
Not Alaska, folks.
So almost to Crestwood.
Okay.
So right off of 265. Food is amazing, but the bourbon selection
fish and
is
chips is the best. The fish and chips are the best.
fish and
I'm just saying.
chips. They,
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal. They have a brunch that's pretty amazing, but they take care of you. They know their bourbon. They do a really, really good job.
I've never been steered wrong at the bar at
That's
Village
right.
Anchor. Never have.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm going to call out the Silver Dollar. I kind of like it.
Oh, well, you get stuff at the Silver Dollar. You can't get it.
I like the
anywhere else.
bourbon, but I
Yeah.
also like the chicken and waffles.
Oh, boy.
Chicken and
Yeah.
waffles is pretty darn good there.
That sounds really good right
Yeah.
now. Man.
So they've got
Stop with the food, y'all. Stop.
they've got a tremendous bourbon selection there. I mean, very extensive bourbon selection, and you can get just about anything you want. They also have some Dusties there, so you can get some older bourbons too.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good place to stop. And they also do picks with the distilleries. Now they don't sell their picks of their bottles out of the Silver Dollar. You actually have to go over to their other store in Germantown to get that. I'm trying to remember what's the name of that store over there. Do you remember?
I do not remember, but I know that. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I put myself on the spot here, but I'll make sure that I put it in the show notes so anybody that is interested in knowing that, they can look that up. But
I think there's just Louisville is, me and my wife have been all over America in the service and had some great cities that are great for foodies and stuff. But Louisville, they got some great food, and every place you go into has some great bourbon.
I can't remember the episode, but we had Noah Glanville on from the Pit Barrel Cooker Company. And he said during his interview on the show, he said that he actually was at a point in his life where the company was starting to do well, and he could choose wherever he wanted to live in the United States. So he was flying around looking at cities. Where do I want to move? Where do I want to move? And a couple of people told him, check out Louisville. And he came here and he said, this is it. Moved to Louisville.
Well, I mean, if you want to do a shout out, recently, my wife and I finally went over to Valari.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when you can get fresh
now, what's
seafood,
the chef's name over there?
Josh Moore.
Josh
Yeah.
Moore.
Okay.
And when you can get fresh seafood that was caught less than 24 hours, and it's right there, the UPS hub here around more Maine lobster come through Louisville, Kentucky than any other UPS hub in the country. And when you can get fresh seafood, I'm not saying we're landlocked, but because we do have the Ohio River, but we're not by the ocean, and you can get some great seafood here, and the whole farm to table when you have rural counties like here, like Spencer and Shelby County.
Right.
Folks, it sets it up for some, why would you ever go eat at a chain restaurant?
And Josh,
That's right.
He does the farm to table, and it's not just some marketing ploy with him. He actually grows most of that produce out on his farm and brings it into the restaurant, and that's what they cook with is actual the food from his farm out here in Shelby County. So that you can't get no more real Kentucky than that.
That's right. So you've got those guys. You've got Red Hog on Frankfurt Avenue. Those guys do an unbelievable job, and then River House down on the river.
That's really good.
I mean, their seafood
That is
is
John Veronese.
John Veronese. So
Yeah.
he's got Veronese, and then River House. And
He's got a
those
little
are fantastic.
nightclub there too. We went to, Randy. What was that
that's
called?
right.
Here we go. I'm putting myself on the spot again.
He gives me 4 pours and expects me to remember something.
That's right.
No, really.
Yeah. So they got a nice restaurant, and then after you're done eating, you can go over to their nightclub there and listen to a band and
Good music.
River House.
They do it. River House.
Yeah.
They do a really good job.
Took me a minute there, but
That's
even
right.
the Old Stone Inn right down the road here, Chef D is he's pretty particular about what comes in there, and he has done some research.
That's right.
As far as local farmers and stuff.
All right. Well, we've given our listeners a whole list of things to do when they come to
The
Louisville.
bourbon culture.
Everybody
ladies and gentlemen.
always asks. There
Yeah.
you go. That's
All
it.
right. Good deal. Let's focus back on the bourbon, guys. What do you think?
Whose turn is it now?
This is my pick.
Oh, boy.
But
Here we go.
be fair. Be fair. Now this is I would
this
say
is the same thing we just had. Hold it.
No, this looks
I'm just joking.
this looks a lot. Yeah, this does look a lot like the same color what Randy brought.
No, actually, I would say, well, yeah, about the same. Okay. Ever since you said graham crackers, that's all I'm going to smell now.
That's
There
right.
you go, Mike. I hope you're happy.
Isn't that
with that.
amazing how it works?
Well, I'm
Just
telling
somebody
you,
says something, you just smell
suggestion,
it.
a power of suggestion.
I actually was stayed up late last night, and some graham crackers and some milk is good
Oh,
right
yeah,
before you
that's
go to
right.
sleep.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah.
And I looked in our pantry.
Yeah.
No graham
There's
crackers.
no graham cracker. How disappointing was that?
Oh,
Just need to
man.
start that diet I'm on.
Well, guys, I tell you what, I am definitely getting some of the same notes that Randy had. Some of the, the kind of the baking spice, graham cracker, gingerbread.
But a little more alcohol on the back end for me on the nose.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I get
a
that.
little more
than
alcohol.
than
I
that
agree
Heaven
with
Hill
that.
had.
It's got a little bit. It's a little bolder for me. Kind of a little bit. It kind of punches you a little bit more in the nose.
Yeah.
Than the Heaven Hill bottled and bond.
So, Jim, I definitely think that when we look at the nose, the difference between mouth open, mouth closed, what do you think?
Oh, I didn't try it that way.
Or you could use, we just got through interviewing Mark Klein, and his method is as soon as you take a taste, breathe out through your nose. And he said all of a sudden you get some things that you don't normally get coming this way. It's almost like you reverse it.
That's
So
right.
when you take your first little sip, breathe out through your nose instead of your mouth, and see what happens
Well,
there.
I remember the tasting we did with Elizabeth McCall.
Yeah.
So kind of changed the way I did things a little bit, and I noticed a big difference in the nose.
She would know, wouldn't she? She
That's
would
right.
She would nose these things, wouldn't
That's
she?
right.
She would.
All right. Well, I'm going to taste it. All right. Somebody speak first.
Well, it's got a little pepper at the back.
But not as much as I expected from the nose.
Well, from Jim, you would think something that it's got a little bit of pepper to it.
He needs to be a pitcher in the big leagues. He's always throwing curveballs, isn't he? He's never going to throw you a fastball. It's always going to be a curveball.
Brian
Right
threw
across
the-
that back
He's going to
corner.
try to trick
Brian
you.
threw the big curveball today with that Overholt rye.
That's probably true.
This one for me, and again, I know what it is, but for me, this one's a little bolder on the palate. It was a little bolder on the nose. I think it's a little bolder on the palate. It's not as well rounded as the last one, but it's definitely more present. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. And the finish stays with you probably just a tad bit longer on this one, I would say.
There's a lot more on the back sides of your palate, on the back and the sides. The finish is, it's a good finish.
No, and it rounds the corner very well.
Is anybody else getting any bitterness on the back end?
Just a tad.
Yeah, maybe just a tad of
just
it.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But what's weird is a lot of these that I taste that have that bitter finish, when I add just a little splash of water, sometimes helps that. And then ones that I don't have that problem when I'm drinking neat, and I do a little water, and all of a sudden it turns bitter. It's like you can't water. Just a little drop or two of water will change some of that stuff for me.
Just them tears.
Yeah, just a little bit of and that's not Chuck Norris tears like you guys were having
That's
last
right.
night, but
Well, I want to put a little water in it because I want to test Randy's theory.
no.
What about the legs on that? What do you think?
They're pretty. They're a little thin, but they're definitely sticking to the glass.
They're not running quick though.
Yeah, Randy, adding a little water did tame that bitterness a little bit,
It always
and
does
it,
just
and
a
it
tad.
sort of brings
for-
out some sweetness on the front
Mhm.
end.
I just thought this glass is they're just so tiny in my hand. I can just hide it and
We need a Mike Karen instead of a Glenn Karen, right?
All right, Randy. Well, the scoring is going to start with you this time.
Oh boy, I'm kind of like you. The nose was really bold. I'd have to give it a 3
Okay.
on the nose myself. Maybe about a 2.5 on the taste, because it did hang in there across the mid palate a little bit, rounded the corner fairly well, and the finish was, to me, is as good or better than the Heaven Hill. So I would probably give that a 3 as well.
Well, would you give the Heaven Hill on the finish? Let's see. Randy gave a 3 to the Heaven Hill on the finish.
So I would give that a 3 as well. This one here, it's really bold. Yeah, I'm done.
Randy's all about completing things.
he's done for the short part. He's like,
I can enjoy.
Big Mike.
on the on nose, I would give it a 3. It's it's there. It's a great bourbon. On taste, it's not my jam, but I still give it a 2.25.
Splitting hairs. I told you.
Splitting
that.
hairs.
It's all right.
Here we go.
It's all right.
And then on the finish, maybe a 2.5. I'd have to say, to defend my stuff, I'm a weeded bourbon guy, and that's just who I am. And probably nothing will ever change my mind on that. I am who I am, and I kind of like that.
Well, you're a bourbon your way.
Yeah.
That's right.
If I'm paying for it, I'm the one that's got to like it.
That's right. Everybody's got their
That's
profile.
right.
Well-
no doubt about it. Like we were drinking your Fighting Cock, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good stuff. And I think a lot of people would really like it. But for me, it wasn't my profile. It wasn't.
Yeah. Which is funny because it was there to compete with Wild Turkey. It's not your profile.
Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
Well,
It's not Wild Turkey, my friend.
That's right.
I heard about something I want to throw out to you guys. This guy he took his bottle with him backpacking in the mountains, and I guess it was this last spring, so there was still a little bit of snow, and the rivers were very, very cold. He likes his stuff on ice. Didn't have ice, so he stuck the bottle down in the creek or the river,
and it works too.
and what he called it fire and ice, because he didn't get any water from his ice cubes like he normally would, but yet it was cold. But he still got the heat from on the front end, especially when he did. He said, boy, if I have my brothers, he goes, that's the way I want to drink my bourbon is fire and ice. And I thought that was kind of an interesting.
That's kind of cool. It's a cool story. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ryan, I got to try that. I got to go to the mountains and put my bourbon in the, the river. Go ahead. Sorry about that, Fry. Just
I mean,
one of those spur of the moment things. Just
I feel like Jim kind of picked this one for me.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley.
You like this?
Oh yeah.
Good.
This is good stuff. I'm gonna have to go 3.
Wow.
Ooh, from Brian, a 3. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to go 3.
Oh my goodness. The Japanese judges gave him a 3.
That's right.
Oh.
And
what do we get
go
on the
3,
landing?
man.
On the landing.
Gotta go 3.
Here we go, folks, all the way across the board.
There we
It
go.
is-
There we
So
go.
from Brian, no
That
less,
went
y'all.
The coveted 9.
That's right.
All right. Now it's on me, and this is my bourbon. And
555. Okay.
well, no,
we get it.
no, I've had this one before.
Was it truly $20 though?
Significantly less, but let me score it first.
$7.99.
No, wait a minute. Let me score it first, and you guys can ask me questions. All right. So on my score, I'm going to give it. I think a fair nose on this is 3. I tend to agree with you guys. In fact, all 3 of you gave it a 3. I'm going to go on board with that. On the palate, this is kind of my jam. I like this stuff. I mean, I can drink this on a regular basis. This is
5.
No, I'm going to be honest about it because look, I can taste a little bit of youth in it. All right.
Yeah, it does have.
Yeah. So it's not a well-aged bourbon. It's a reasonably aged bourbon. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give it a 3 on the taste, on the palate. On the finish, I do think that this is a competitor to your Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, but I don't think it takes it out. In other words, I think it's probably very approachable to it. I would say a 2.9. Well, because but it's so close that I'm just going to give it a 3 across the board because I think it's really close to it.
Hey, at least I didn't lose. Yay.
All right. So we'll tally all these up in a minute because there's a little bit of decimal math here, and I've had 4 pours. So, but does anybody have any questions for me?
Proof.
100.
Really?
From a major distillery.
Yes.
I told you it was the same thing we just had. No,
That's right. Years.
I don't know exactly, but I can tell you it's at least 4.
You guys ask all the questions. Jim Beam double oaked.
Definitely not Jim Beam double oaked.
No.
This is JTS Brown Bottled and Bond.
don't think I'd ever had any of that
Nice.
till now either.
And what do you think the price is on a bottle of JTS Brown Bottled and Bond?
$12.99.
Mike, what do you think?
Man, that's hard. $11.
Randy?
I'm going to go a little higher than that. I want to say in the $15 to $17 range, somewhere in there.
Well, I can tell you this. If this was a $10 or under challenge, this bourbon could have been in it.
What?
Yeah, $9.50.
Really?
$9.50.
See? Curveball. I done told you.
My store is a little expensive.
Yeah. Well, the JTS Bottle and Bond can vary anywhere between, say, about $9 and probably $14. Is that right? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah. It's a Heaven Hill product. So it's made by the same.
Well, I got some of those same notes.
You did?
That I did from the 6 year,
So 3 Heaven and Hill products tonight.
which is interesting.
Yeah. All right. So let me tally these up and we'll see who is the big winner tonight. What do you think? Guys, so we have totaled up the scores, and it appears that Randy and I have tied at 34.25 points. So Randy and I are sitting in the lead at 34.25 each. The next person is Mike with Fighting Cock at 27.6. And then Brian, you're sitting at 23.85 with the Old Overholt, which is a very good rye. I mean, I really enjoy it. But tonight it fared not so well.
Brian, I thought the guests were supposed to win on this thing. That's what
right.
I came here. I was like, me and Brian we're winners, and Jim and Randy are going to let us win.
That's not what I heard. I heard that the ringers were coming to do third pour. That's what I heard. And I said, man, I got to be bringing some A game on this thing.
That sounds like a Bulldogs fan to me all the way
I
through.
got to cheat it. I got to cheat it.
I think here's the story. Had this not been blind, you guys would have probably won, because we'd have been looking at the labels and looking at who we were going up against and saying they need to win.
Exactly.
But blind,
everybody knows the Bulldogs fade out in the fourth quarter. So, that we pulled this off.
Only against their Crimson Tide.
That's it.
But I don't care who it is, where you are, the very best bourbon connoisseur on the planet. When you sit down with a blind pour, it's all equalized, and you never know who's going to come out on top, because it is your palate on that day.
On that particular day. That's a good point.
Yeah.
On that day.
How you feeling that day too?
Right.
Sometimes
Exactly.
Well, the sinus is messing up, and you can't get the nose right.
Well, anyway, Randy and I tied, but while we were away, we did a taste off between Randy and I, and when we did that blind taste off between our two bottles, myself, Mike, and Brian chose Randy's bottle. And surprisingly enough,
Randy chose the other.
Randy didn't choose his own. So anyway, Randy's bottle won the overall challenge. And that means that Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond 6-year, which is discontinued,
which you can't get anymore for $17.99,
is the champion of the day. Now, some can argue that you cheated, but I don't think you did.
Well, at the time that was gifted to me, it was bought for below $20.
Randy, I don't feel cheated at all. I drank it. I loved it. It was good.
There were
I don't
no
feel cheated.
losers here today.
No losers
here today. I'm just saying.
I would have to say that all 4 bourbons brought today were, well, one of them was a rye. Brian, you threw a curveball.
That's right. I do what I can.
All 4 bottles brought today were delicious. They were good. They were really good. So, guys, listen to me. There's some real heroes on the bottom shelf. Go out there and try them. They're darn good. But anyway, so as a result of Randy winning, he got to choose from anything he wanted on the top bar. What did you choose, Randy?
Well, I went and got something I know that I personally probably couldn't afford on a day-to-day basis. And, I take advantage of these moments when I can. But I got me some Old Carter rye.
Which batch?
That number 3.
Oh,
that one I liked that had that lilac and that flower boutique. 116.2.
All right. And then the rest of us.
So what did you losers have?
Well, I chose the Rabbit Hole. Now, this we were choosing from the bottom shelf. Now, these aren't necessarily losing drams, but they are the bottom shelf here. I chose the Rabbit Hole Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is a 95 proof bourbon from Rabbit Hole here. It's the 2017 Double Gold winner.
Double Gold winner, and that's bottom shelf here?
Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Well, remember, this is my bar. And I get to choose what shelf to put the bottles on.
Well, you can choose whatever you want.
That's a high bottom shelf right there.
I can't quite reach the top of that one. Can you?
So I chose that. And so, guys, what did you choose?
I think both me and Brian, we chose your Infinity bourbon. Man, that's got a dark color to it.
Okay.
That's right.
So I keep an Infinity bottle. I think most of us probably do. But when a bottle gets down to about an inch or less, probably less than an inch, half inch or so left in the bottom of it, rather than let it sit there and oxidize in that bottle, I just pour it through a funnel into a bigger bottle, and we just we drink it.
So you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That dark Infinity bottle there. You know how sometimes on companies, when they say we've got this many years of experience, that thing's got 100 years of experience there in that infinity.
I will
pour.
tell you this much: I can assure you there are everything from BTACs to Rise to hard to find bottles to easy to find bottles in there, because I don't keep track of my infinity bottle. When I pour something in it, I don't write it down.
Jim, I don't know that I've ever had a bad infinity. I just don't know that I ever have.
Well, I guess if you're a Scotch drinker, somebody might throw a little bit of peated Scotch in there, and it might throw things off a little bit. I don't drink Scotch on a regular basis. I've got a few on my bar, but
there's Scotch in there.
If there is, it would be an unpeated Scotch.
Okay,
so you won't taste any peat.
It was Paul. It wasn't Peter. It was no peat, just Paul.
All right, I want to ask everybody what they think. What do you think about bottom shelf bourbons, Randy?
Bottom shelf, I go to those for daily drinkers all the time. One of my daily drinkers, is most of y'all know, is the Ancient Age 80. It's now just above 20, but cheap enough and just a good solid daily drinker, and then save the good stuff for the weekends when you're on a budget.
Yeah, for me, I like T.W. Samuels. I don't know if you guys have had it or not, but it is another Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond product. Usually you can pick that up at Total Wine for $18 to $20, half gallon. So
that's a steal.
That's a steal. And, among others. So today I brought the JTS Brown. That's one of my favorites. Mike, you and I have gone out to the bar and we've had the, what is that with the blue label on it?
Early Times Bottled and Bond.
The Early Times Bottled and Bond. A big favorite of mine.
I think any bottom shelf, whether you're drinking it or, as I like to do, I like to cook with a little bit. It's going to get you some way, whether it is to make me cheerful, happy.
Yeah.
Make me do that little jig, that Kentucky jig.
Now, some bottles on the bottom shelf, are not necessarily the best choice for drinking straight. Right. I mean, you cook with Old Crow, right?
I do. That's like my favorite bourbon to cook with. Some people, they're like, I can't believe you're even cooking with that.
But as a cooking bourbon or a mixing bourbon, it's just fine.
It still brings out that flavor. I make chili out of it. I smoke pulled pork with it.
Yeah. I
make a mean bacon apple pie with it.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people will tell you, I mean, it depends, because we've had, Virginia from Mertz Cakes. She goes, people love Woodford and think that it pairs good with food. She said, but when I actually try to put it in pies, it did not do as well as other brands in cooking.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because Woodford is actually known for its pairing with food. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I bet you if you try that double oak or that double, you'd be a whole lot different story. But
what do you think, Brian?
I mean, I really think it just depends on each person.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, I've done a lot of blind tastings, and it really just depends on what you like. So you can go buy something that's really cheap. People are like, I don't like that, whatever. And it's great. For me, Makers, I don't care. Makers 46. I like it all.
46 is good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And some people say, that's not good. It's kind of regular.
That French oak throws that curve in there.
That's right.
Ain't no good.
Those people think that you just bring your bourbon over to my house and I'll drink it for you.
Leave it over here with the Bourbon Road, and we'll make sure that we get on down to the next mile marker.
That's right. The beautiful thing about bourbon is everybody has their own thing that they really enjoy and like. So whether it's Pappy, whether it's Four Roses, Makers, Jim Beam, whatever it may be, we all have something that we really enjoy.
Right.
And so what the mainstream may say, if you enjoy to drink it, drink it, share it, tell people that you like it, and keep going.
Yeah. So you just christened a new bar in your basement.
That's right.
Job well done, by the way. Nice
Thank
bar. You. So if you were going to create a decanter on your bar that's unlabeled, what might you pour in it?
Oh, wow.
Never heard of that. Oh, wow. Is that pretty good stuff?
I mean, for me, honestly, I would probably lean a little bit towards Four Roses just because a little bit more easy to get. But if I had something that I could get unlimited, easy, I would go Blanton's probably 100%.
Yeah.
But here's my problem with Blanton's and a decanter. The first time I picked up Blanton's was because of the bottle. Okay. I didn't know what it tasted like. Had no
Jockey
clue.
juice.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Got a horse up on there. The bottle's different than the rest of the bottles on the shelf. Let me try this stuff. And I'm sitting, so for me, I would never put that in a decanter just because I love the bottle so much.
Oh, yeah. if it was unlimited, that's what I would pour 24/7
Just the
for anybody.
Just the regular, or would you try to go gold label? Or
gold
something?
label, straight from the barrel. Obviously, straight from the barrel is probably the best. Got to do it with a little drop of water, maybe a very small piece of ice. But as far as Blanton's goes, for me, I mean, it's the best.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the Infinity bottle?
It's actually pretty good. The nose on it is excellent. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have fun with that. With the lilac over here with me and the floral boutique.
You're over there smelling the
Yeah.
roses. Just
I know it.
running
That's
with the
right.
roses over
That's
there.
me.
Yeah. Infinity bottle. Great thing to do. Keep one on your bar, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to go. I think that I have been surprised. I've never been totally disappointed with an Infinity bottle. I have had some that have knocked my socks off and some that are just like, okay, but I've never been disappointed. So it's definitely something to do.
I think if you had some bourbon, instead of having an Infinity bottle, you'd have an Infinity decanter.
Yeah.
Run out to a garage sale or to a estate sale and find yourself a nice decanter or something and start yourself an Infinity.
Or pick up one of those. Those bottle and bonds from, what are they? The old Fitz bottle and bonds from the those come in a nice bottle, and the juice is okay. It's pretty good. I mean, it depends on, like, the most recent was a 13-year that they've got down there now at Heaven Hill. And if you can get your hands on that, my understanding is it's pretty good. I haven't tasted it yet.
I think you got to get up pretty early to go get that.
You got to get up pretty early to go get that. But if you get that and you enjoy drinking that bottle down, when you're done, soak that label off of it.
That's right.
Turn it into a decanter and make an Infinity bottle out of it. There you go.
Start it with a little Blanton's Gold. Straight from the barrel. You're in good shape.
Ooh, I bet they would not like that, I don't think.
Randy, I think Brian rivals you as the Blanton's fan in the room.
That's right.
Well, Bland's is just one of the many that I like. I don't know what to
It's
tell
some
you.
good juice right
Hey,
there.
I love it. And if you've never had the Blanton's maple syrup,
Yeah. Good stuff, huh?
get that. That is.
Now, where do you pick that up at?
You got to get it online. BlantonsBourbonShop.com and put that on some bacon or pork belly.
Yeah.
Whole different level.
So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I got a friend that actually taps maples over in Virginia. So I'm going to get some of his organic homemade maple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to do some of my wife's French toast with her custard, her bourbon custard. And we'll make it out of Blanton's for you. Okay.
I'm
with
coming for breakfast.
With a Blanton's infused whipped cream. And then we'll put that maple syrup on the top of that French toast. What do you think?
I might even throw in some homemade bacon for that.
That's right.
Man.
Let me
Talk
tell you about this
bourbon
guy's
culture.
homemade. Let me tell you about this
Bourbon
guy's
culture.
homemade bacon. It is something to die for. It's so delicious.
Hey. All right. When are we doing breakfast?
Well, fellas, what do you think? Blind bottle shares, blind bourbon tastings. What do you think about it?
I'd love it. The first time I'd ever did a blind tasting was with Jim. Probably second or third time we'd hung out, and it just kind of opened my eyes and educated me so much about bourbon, and that you really don't know what you're drinking until you drink it blind.
I think
right.
I think a lot of people they hesitate in doing a blind because they're worried that they're going to get caught off guard. But the answer is we all get caught off guard. We all really don't know what's going to happen when we taste that bourbon.
We sure don't know what's going to happen because the first time I ever did a blind was with Jim as well, and we tasted until we were blind. So, I'm just saying, you just never know what might happen.
And it doesn't matter if you're Fred Minnick or if you're Randy Minnick.
There you go.
It's all equal when you get a blind. I'm telling you, it's all equal. So
I don't know about that. I tried to fool you one time and you got it to the T. You were like, hey, this is the brand. This is the proof. This is the year. It's bottled in bond. It is this right here. It is this bourbon. And I was like, man, I can't fool this guy. He's got it down.
I was just having a good night.
Is there ever a bad night though?
Not when you're drinking bourbon.
Nah.
That's right.
All right, fellas. Well, I've had a great time tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on. I tell you what, I'd like to do this again. Let's plan on getting together again for another third pour episode and just drinking some bourbon together. What do you think?
I'd love it. I appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, it's a blast. Thanks, guys.
All right. Sounds
Yeah.
like fun.
Thank you.
We do appreciate all of our listeners, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Bourbon Road. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if so, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe and rate us a 5-star with a review on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Bourbon Road. That way you'll be kept in the loop on all the Bourbon Road happenings. You can also visit our website at thebourbonroad.com to read our blog, listen to the show, or reach out to us directly. We always welcome comments or suggestions, and if you have an idea for a particular guest or topic, be sure to let us know. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.